Hey everyone, welcome to the video. Going over tomorrow's MLB main slate for tomorrow on DraftKings. Before we continue though, if you could leave a like, subscribe to the channel, I really appreciate that. I think we're a little over 900 right now, so we're getting pretty close to 1,000, so I really appreciate all the support to the channel. We've been growing pretty fast, so you guys are pretty awesome, so thank you very much. And you can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPennell16. That's just my YouTube name plus the number 16 at the end. And if you want access to this cheat sheet, the pitching model, and it's got all the stats you need. It pulls in live data every single day, and it's all color coded to make it nice and neat. So basically, just look for the green. The more green you see, the better it is. The more red you see, the worse it is. And for the hit, it's got projections as well, value, and park factors, all that good stuff. And then for the batters, got again pretty much everything you need. Pulls in live data, ISO, and WOBA versus handedness of pitcher, when time's the game starting, all this kind of good stuff. So everything you need on here, and it's very helpful. That's what I use to make my cheat sheet. It helps me out, and just a good little tool to have every single day. So yeah, anyway, let's get into the slate. So it's a pretty fun slate. I think it's about 7 games, which is my favorite kind of slate. I mean 15 game slates are fine, but I find the 7 game slates a little bit easier to break down. So anyway, let's get into it. So there's a lot of good pitching options. I wouldn't say I really have a clear SP1, although I would say actually DeGrom is the clear SP1, but I do like the savings you get with David Price. So let's talk about David Price first of all, 9,700. So he's been great so far this year. So let's go into the pitching model. If we take a look at David Price, he's been excellent this year. He's got a 3.28 xFIP, a 29% K rate. The walk rate isn't too bad either at 6%. And yeah, he's been very good. He's really limiting the hard contact. I believe he has the best hard contact rate of the slate. Yeah, he does at 32%, right behind Yarborough. So I do like David Price a lot, especially versus a Texas team who does strike out a lot versus lefties. And if you see the number, they do have a high team ISO and high team WOBA, but they are out of Texas, which a lot of their offense gets a big boost in playing in Texas, but now we're in Boston, which I know isn't the best park for pitching at all, but it is a plus matchup for Price, considering he's a lefty, and plus Gallo's out of the lineup as well, so that's going to limit some of their power. So I do like David Price a lot. And then the next guy I like is Jacob deGrom. He's 10,400. Yeah, I know it kind of feels like he hasn't been himself this year, but if you look at the numbers, he has. I mean, he had a couple bad starts earlier in the year, but he's been great. Anyway, he's got a 3.28 xFIP, 29% K rate. The walk rate's pretty low. And it's a good matchup for him versus the St. Louis Cardinals, who are a right-handed heavy lineup, and he can strike out righties. I know it's above 30%, so definitely like Jacob deGrom a lot as your clear ace if you're spending all the way up. Not too interested in Matthew Boyd going against the Royals, although I do think it's a decent matchup, but I'd much rather play deGrom because he's got that longer track record and he's just a better overall pitcher. Then the next guy I like is Jack Flaherty. I really like him to bounce back versus righty heavy Mets lineup, and he's near elite versus righties, and he's pretty bad versus lefties. But the good thing is for him, I'm only seeing 3 lefties in the lineup, and they aren't the most intimidating lefties. Jeff McNeil, not too scared of. Michael Conforto, I could maybe see him getting maybe a one-off home run there. And I can't remember the other lefty off the top of my head, but I know there's another one. So I think those are really the only two, only a few scary spots for Flaherty. But other than that, I love the price, and I do think it's a fantastic matchup. Then a catcher, I like James McCann, 3,900. I'm probably gonna go all the way down to Jansen, but don't mind McCann, 3,900. Always like him versus lefties, and Happ has just not been very good this year. And then I like Austin Hedges, 2,900, just because he's cheap and in cores, and that's really just about it. Although I do respect Jon Gray as a pitcher, so I'm not gonna be snacking San Diego, but I do think there's some one-offs I don't mind. And then Danny Jansen, 2,300, probably where I'm gonna be because I'm gonna want to spend up in other positions. I really want that Red Sox outfield and some cores guys as well. So I do like getting down to Jansen, and really opens up your salary. And I think it's pronounced Noah. I'm not sure, but he's been pretty bad versus righties. Then at first base, I like Eric Hosmer, 4,300. Fair price for a cleanup hitter in cores, lefty on righty matchup versus Gray. And we went the lefties versus him, but the problem is there isn't many lefties on the Padres, so maybe Jon Gray could be a sneaky GPP pitcher if he's going to be lower owned because he's in course. So, but it's a right-handed heavy lineup. And then Rowdy Tellez and Justin Smoke, really, they both the same reasons for them. But Tellez did grand slam tonight or last night, whenever you're watching this, and he's still cheap enough that I don't mind him with this home run upside, and he's in a good hitter's park as well. And Justin Smoke, really the same reasons, but he hits higher in the order, and he's just a better player. And at second base, I like Whit Merrifield at 4K. He's just too cheap for him facing a lefty. I know Boyd's been good, but Whit Merrifield's pretty good versus lefties, and he gives us power and stolen base upside too. And then Kike Hernandez, 3,400. Only if he's leading off. He was back to leadoff duties last time he faced a lefty in Bumgarner. So as long as he is again, I do have interest, and he does have 2 homers off of Lester. And then Cavan Biggio, 3,800. Just another Blue Jay versus Noah. I didn't spell that right. Okay, and then at third base, we have Nolan Arenado, 5,600. Facing lefty in Coors, fresh off the injured list, and was a Mastrom. So I do love Arenado. Anytime he's facing a lefty in Coors, he is one of, if not the best play of this slate. And then Vlad Guerrero Jr., 4,200. I know it just isn't very good for versus both sides of the plate, especially versus righties. I know his web was a lot higher versus the righties, and the bullpen isn't that good either. And I still think he's a good play at that price. And he had 3 hits last night. I believe he had 17 points. So you looked pretty good last night. So hopefully we can keep the hot streak going. Then Justin Turner at 4,100. Always like him versus lefties, and I'm firmly on the side of Lester not being very good anymore. That's not a hot take or anything, but I do like these Dodger righties. And then at shortstop, Trevor Story, same exact reasons as Arenado. I wrote the same exact notes for him. And then Xander Bogaerts at 5K. Sampson has been worse versus righties, and he has a very low strikeout rate, which is not a good profile to have when facing this Red Sox team, because there's a lot of good righties, and they don't strike out a lot, and they have a ton of power. So definitely like the Red Sox tonight. Probably one of my favorite stacks. Not probably, they are. And then Didi Gregorius, 4,300. I really like the price we're getting with Didi, and I love lefties versus Nova. He has a super low strikeout rate versus them, and he just can't get them out. So the ball is going to be put in play. And I love the price on Didi, and he's going to be hitting in the middle of the order, probably around 4 or 5. So love Didi Gregorius tonight. He's going to be a court play for me as of right now. And then in the high-priced outfield, we have Charlie Blackmon at 5,800. He isn't going to carry much ownership facing a lefty, but Strom has actually given up a lot more power to lefties this season. It's not a big sample size, but I do think if you can afford him, it could be a sneakier playing Coors. And then plus he's going to get to the bullpen anyway, although I do know the Padres have a pretty decent bullpen, but still it's Coors Field. And then the Boston outfield, so Benintendi's 4,500, Mookie Betts is 49, and JD's 49. I do really like all 3 of those guys very much. So anytime these guys are below 5K, I'm interested, and I love the Boston bats tonight. Then Aaron Hicks at 4,800, just another lefty versus Nova. He's a switch hitter, so no matter what the bullpen throws out, he gets the platoon advantage. Then in the mid range, we have we actually talked about all these guys. So Whit Merrifield, Biggio, and then Kike. And then in the value outfield, although I probably should have switched Kike with Kristen Stewart here just because he's cheaper, but oh well. Just a lefty versus Homer Bailey. I haven't really talked about any of the Detroit guys. So maybe Bailey could be a sneaky play. You know, he's 5,200 going against. He's got a good matchup going against the Tigers. If you can take a look here, if I can find him. My model actually has him as a pretty good value, probably one of the top value plays at pitcher, but just not a lot of upside. But still, the strikeout rate's up this year. It's sitting at 20%, and it's a really righty-heavy lineup, and that's good for Homer Bailey because he's a little bit better versus righties. Not like he's good, but he's a little bit better, and it's a good matchup. Detroit's striking out 26% of the time, just low team ISO, low team MOBA, and all that. So maybe Homer Bailey could be a sneaky GPP play, but I don't mind the lefties versus him, like Goodrum and Kristen Stewart. So I think that's an interesting play there. And then if we go to some of the core plays, I have Jack Flaherty at 7,300, Didi Gregorius at 4,300, and Mookie Betts at 4,900. And then you can figure out what you want to do at SP1 with either Price or Jacob deGrom. And for impactful weather, like I said, just check Twitter, guys. It's a lot easier than me trying to predict what's going to happen because they have guys on Twitter that's their full-time job is doing DFS weather. So I would recommend doing that. And then the top stacks for me are going to be the Red Sox, the Yankees, the Rockies, and the Blue Jays. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I just saw that. Hunter Renfroe. That's an interesting high-priced outfielder play. I believe he has 3 homers off of John Gray and 6 at bats. So I think I'm remembering that correctly. So he has a good BVP versus him. So could be an interesting play there. But anyway, guys, that's all I have for the video. Remember to leave a like, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. You can also follow me on Twitter at ChrisPanel16. And I wish you guys the best of luck tomorrow. And if you're playing golf, good luck.